an attorney that has the specialty of wills and estates. If you call an attorney and they don't do those, they will usually refer you to one. Now, if you do not get a will, you die intestate. 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 That is the legal name for dying without a will. And if you do die in America without a will, that the state has a protocol for what happens with your stuff. If you have no one in your life, no friend, no family, if you have no will, no wife, no husband, no mother and father left alive, no children, then the state keeps your stuff. But for me, a will became important to me because I lived the majority of my life without one. If you're younger and think, wow, Derek was smart and got one, nope. I lived my whole life without one because my attitude was, if I'm dead, I don't care what happens with my stuff. And I just figured there would be a way that my mom could get something, but I never really focused on it. I think because I never really felt vulnerable to death. I lived a lot of my life not even thinking about it. I didn't even consider it. I mean, and I lost a brother, but I think losing him when I was 28, my 18-year-old brother died, and losing him after that, I think I got hyper-focused on realizing how short life is, but so focused on and driven to accomplish my goals that I didn't even consider death for myself. I think because life was so hard, because I pushed myself so hard, I looked at life as death, and I think I almost looked at, maybe if I thought about death, I almost thought, I'm not going to get that lucky. I have friends who think that we will see another civil war in America, and I tell them, I don't think we'll get that lucky. And you might be in shock at that statement, but let me explain. I think that America is so broken that that's the only way to fix this. Thomas Jefferson said, the tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of tyrants and patriots. I think that he just knew that it's the only way to change people, to change people's minds. It's like you just can't do it, and this is the result of not doing it for 100 years, is we're stuck in like a quagmire. And I've done a video on the Regent's Beta paradox, and it's kind of like that. If things were just a little bit worse, we would fix it. But because things are just bearable and we're moderately comfortable, we'll just deal with the madness. So it isn't like I'm going to start it. Don't get mad at me, please. Just understand that I'm just saying I know that just like after the last Civil War, the worst people were dead. The people that were causing all of the problems, the people that were keeping us from progressing, we fixed it. We fought our way through, and the winner won, and that's the way we proceeded as a country. And I fear that that's the only way we're going to get through this madness that we have going on now, because nobody is changing their mind, and everybody's dug in even deeper, and it's getting ugly. Like it's like the other side is evil. And it is red or blue in America, and it is like I will give you an example. On the red side, Trump said this in 2016. I could go into Times Square and shoot somebody, and not lose a single vote. He said it. You can look it up. It's on YouTube. And, though it's funny, but it's true. He could do that today, and I think he would not lose a single vote. And I think likewise on the blue side, if Kamala was caught on a hot mic saying, "I hate all white people," she wouldn't lose a vote. The blue team people will not vote for Trump, and the red team people will not vote for Kamala. It is just not going to happen. They will not budge. There's just no compromise, and it's a threat, but I just don't think anybody has the stomach for it. Even Trump didn't have the stomach for it on January 6th. It could have happened. But instead of telling those people to carry on and telling the rest of the world to rise up, instead he said, "Go home. Everybody go home." He could have done it, but he didn't. And if he'd have said it, they'd have done it. His people would have done it, but he didn't. So, I don't know. I feel like that's why I say we're not going to get that lucky, because we're just going to deal in this quagmire. We're just going to trudge through this 50-50 divide, and everybody's going to hate everybody. Except if you're the red and you got a red team, then you're going to get along with them, and the other side is just going to be the devil. And if you watch the news, that's all you're going to ever see. So I say don't watch the news, but let me get back on the topic. That was the point of just saying I'm not going to get that lucky. I've been through a lot of pain to get where I'm at now. Now that I'm here, yeah, I'm definitely not going to end my life, but I don't know. I'm just to the point now. The reason I got a will is because I do I care more about what happens now after I die, primarily because I worked so hard for all of this to get here. Not to just have the state tell where my money goes, because in Indiana, if you die intestate, half of my money goes to my dad and half of my money goes to my mom. That is how it works in Indiana. If you are not married and you have no kids and your parents are still alive, they split your estate. That is what I realized happened to my money when I died. When I realized that, I ran and got a will, not because my mom was getting half of my stuff, but because my dad was. It was a very strong eye-opener. So I did what I had to do, and I got one. Now, if you have kids, obviously you would probably want to take care of your kids, so the intestate laws are typically pretty fair. But if you don't like your dad or you don't like your mom, you don't want them getting your stuff. And it's not that I don't like my dad, I just don't. He doesn't deserve half of my stuff. So I'm just going to go through an actual will with you so you can kind of see what are all parts of it, because it's not just what do I have and what do I do with my stuff. There's way more to it. So let's get started. I've got a couple copies here, so it's not that old pile we're going to go through. This is the front page. It says, "I, Derek Manus, domiciled and resident county of Hamilton, state of Indiana, and being of sound mind and disposing memory, do hereby revoke any and all wills and codicils by me heretofore made, and I do hereby make, publish, and declare this to be my last will and testament." So what I'm saying in this document is, if there's another will out there, this one takes the place of it. And the date on it, the other one would say the same thing, but the date on this would make that one void. So it says, it mentions codicils. So codicils would be like your estate is like the whole thing. Like your real estate is one topic. Codicils are like if you have a car that you wanted to give somebody, or if you had a book you wanted to give somebody, or if you had a gun you wanted to give somebody. Those would be codicils to the will. On the date I execute this, my last will and testament, I am unmarried. I have no living natural children. I have no adopted children. My father and mother are living. This does say, as are my brother and sisters. I have one brother and 2 sisters. I first order and direct that my enforceable debts, the expenses of my last illness, and the expenses for the administration of my estate be paid by my executor, hereinafter named from the principal of my residuary estate. I further direct that all inheritance and estate taxes, including interest and penalties thereof, if any, payable by reason of my death, shall be paid out of and be charged generally against my residuary estate, without reimbursement from any person. So basically what this is saying is that whatever I own, like my money in the bank, my retirement funds, my homes, my everything I own, out of that, the first thing that gets paid are if I owe anybody any money. Do I owe anything? Get rid of all those. So in order to do this, sometimes if you don't have a lot of standing money, they may have to your executor in charge of your will is able to sell something to pay for these services, to be able to pay off your debts or pay the hospital for your hospital bills. Basically, all the bills get paid first before anybody inherits anything. So that's how the system works. It sucks. You can't escape it even when you die. So then the next page are requests, and like my first one, like I have a rental home in another city and my brother lives in that same city and I'm giving him that rental house. He doesn't live in that rental house, but I rent it to another person, but he inherits the home, so he can kick those people out or he can keep them renting there, whatever he wants to do. I'm giving that to my brother. My home here, I have a friend that I'm giving it to. That's listed. I name my executor, and my executor is my attorney. So I just have my attorney named executor. Now it mentions that if my attorney dies, you have to name another executor. So in your will, you're saying, I want this person to handle my death. I want this person to handle everything in my will, which for me is my attorney. But then I have a relative listed on here to handle that if my attorney, if he dies or something, if he's some reason he can't do it, then this person would be named. And a lot of times what you're doing in this, when you give somebody something, and this is something like when I say here that my house is going to this friend of mine, if it says if she's already gone, if she can't have it, if she's passed away already, then it would go to my mom. And people might say, well, why didn't you go ahead and give it to your mom? My mom is getting enough. These are some acknowledgments you have to make in your will. Under the penalties for perjury, we, the undersigned testator, and the undersigned witnesses respectively, whose names are signed to the foregoing instrument, declare as follows. Number 1, that the testator, me, executed the instrument as his last will and testament. Number 2, that in the presence of the witnesses, the said testator signed his last will and testament. That's me signing. Number 3, that the said testator executed the said last will and testament as his free and voluntary act for the purposes expressed in it. So, the people signing this form are witnesses, and basically they're saying that I wasn't forced to sign this. That each of the witnesses in the presence of the testator and of each other signed the will as a witness. That the said testator was of sound mind. And the last one, number 6, that on blank date, the said testator was 18 or older. So you have to be 18 to have a will, at least in Indiana. And then I sign, and then the witnesses sign. This is a living will declaration. This is part of the will, and it is just a living will. So it says, I, Derek Manus, being at least 18 years of age and sound mind, do hereby revoke all living wills by me heretofore made, and I do hereby willfully and voluntarily make, publish, and declare in this my living will declaration, my desire, that my dying not be artificially prolonged under the circumstances set forth below, and accordingly I declare as follows. Terminal conditions. If at any time my attending physician certifies in writing that I have an incurable injury, disease, or illness, my death will occur within a short time. The use of life-prolonging procedures would serve only artificially to prolong the dying process. Then I direct that each procedures be withheld or withdrawn, and that I be permitted to die naturally, with only the performance or provision of any medical procedure or medication necessary to provide me with comfort or to alleviate pain. And if I have so indicated below, the provision of artificially supplied nutrition and hydration. Oh, and there's a choice. Oh, next page. It says indicate choice by initialing or making your mark, and there was no mark under there, but it's on the next page. Number 1, I wish to receive artificially supplied nutrition and hydration, even if the effort to sustain life is futile or excessively burdensome to me. No. I do not wish to receive artificially supplied nutrition and hydration in the effort to sustain life. If the effort to sustain life is futile or excessively, bingo. I intentionally make no decision concerning artificially supplied nutrition and hydration, leaving the decision to my healthcare representative, appointed under Section 16-36-1-7, or any attorney in fact with healthcare powers under IC 30-3-5. So that is what you have to choose. So you have to name a healthcare provider, and I'm sure we're going to get to that. or we're going to get to your healthcare representative. Without affecting or limiting the generality of the foregoing, I specifically do not wish to have surgeries, dialysis, chemotherapies, or radiation, and I further do not want electrical or mechanical resuscitation of my heart when it has stopped beating, nasogastric tube feedings when I am paralyzed and unable to swallow, and mechanical respiration when I can no longer sustain my own breathing. I think I make it pretty clear that I don't want to be saved. And I don't want to live like a vegetable. So that was terminal illness section, and that only related to terminal illnesses. So again, I've got something that's just like a death prognosis. This isn't me going healthy and just saying, just get rid of me. But when it comes to terminal illness, I'm done. Number 2, persistent vegetative state. If at any time my attending physician certifies in writing that I am in a coma or a persistent vegetative state, it is, that's A. B, it is determined to a high level of medical certainty by my attending physician that such state is irreversible, and C, the use of life-prolonging procedures would serve only artificially to prolong the dying process. Then I direct that such procedures be withheld or withdrawn. Pretty much it's the same thing. Number 3 is priority of living will declaration. The directive set forth in this living will declaration. Number 1, this is your choices, shall have precedence over the authority granted under my healthcare power of attorney executed by me, such that all actions of my healthcare representative shall be in conformity with my directives as expressed in this living will. Number 2, option 2, shall be limited by and subject to the authority granted under my healthcare power of attorney executed by me, in it being my intention that this living will declaration in no way shall limit the discretionary authority conferred upon my healthcare representative, but shall serve only as a guide in making healthcare decisions. For me, I want my will to be honored. This is just continuing on that section. In the absence of my ability to give directions regarding the use of life-prolonging procedures, it is my intention that the declaration be honored by my family physician, healthcare representative, and any healthcare facility in which I am a patient as the final expression of my legal right to refuse medical or surgical treatment, and that they accept the consequences of my refusal as I have. If any questions arise with respect to this living will declaration, my appointed healthcare representative has the authority pursuant to his or her appointment to make any decisions with respect to my medical treatment. That's number 6. Where's number 5? I think I got some of my pages. This is number 7. I authorize the delivery of this declaration to any physician and healthcare facility that may render medical treatment to me, and I authorize any physician having custody of this document to release my needed medical information and to deliver any documents and information to any person as may be necessary or desirable to accomplish my intent as expressed herein. This living will declaration shall not be affected by my subsequent incompetence, and I hereby ratify and confirm that all my healthcare representative shall do in the exercise of the discretionary power that I have conferred on him or her. This declaration is made after due consideration and is in accordance with my strong convictions and beliefs. I want the wishes and directions here expressed carried out to the extent permitted by law, insofar as they are not legally enforceable. I hope that those to whom this declaration is addressed will regard themselves as morally bound by these provisions. I understand the full impact of this declaration, and I am executing this document as a statement of my intent. Done in the city of Indianapolis, blah, blah, blah. This is the healthcare power of attorney. I, Derek Manus, an adult resident of the county of Hamilton, state of Indiana, hereby appoint my friend blank as my attorney. In fact, hereafter called my healthcare representative to make healthcare decisions for me and in my name, place, and stead, as authorized by this document and in accordance with the provisions of Indiana Code, blah, blah, blah. Effective on determination of incapacity. This durable power of attorney and appointment of healthcare representatives shall become effective only in the event that I become incapacitated or disabled so that I am incapable of consenting to my healthcare, in which case it shall become effective. So, this goes into, I don't want to probably get through all the boring stuff on the healthcare, but there's more examples of what they can and can't do, but yeah, this is just more of the healthcare stuff. I can read through these 1 through 6. They are authorized, number 1, to employ or contract with healthcare providers, companies, or other persons to care for me. Number 2, to consent to or refuse any healthcare treatment, service, or procedure to maintain, diagnose, treat, or not treat my physical or mental condition. To authorize or refuse to authorize any medication or procedure intended to relieve pain, even though such use may lead to physical damage, addiction, or hasten the moment of, but not intentionally cause my death. To admit or release me from a hospital or healthcare facility, to have access to records, including medical records concerning my condition, to make anatomical gifts on my behalf, to request an autopsy, to make plans for the disposition of my body and for funeral arrangements, to take any other action necessary to do what I authorize here. So this just keeps going on about the living will, the legal terms. This is a big section because it's medical. It's got like HIPAA laws and things like that in it. Legal garbage. Okay. Next. This is a power of attorney. So, general durable power of attorney. I, Derek Manus, as a resident of the county of Hamilton, state of Indiana, do hereby appoint blank, a resident of blank, as my true and lawful attorney, in fact, to have an exercise for me in my name, place, and stead. This allows that person to sign paperwork for me that needs signed, and it just goes through a list of things that they are able to do with that attorney, in fact. Now, then you have to name a backup attorney, in fact, because if you name one, like what if you and your attorney, in fact, get killed together on a plane crash or something, you need a backup plan. So it makes you name a second person. Hold tight, we're almost there. ceremonial arrangements, I direct the following. Number 1, that there will be no religious service. Number 2, that there be no celebration of life event. That's as basic as the funeral. I think that's as basic as that is. Yeah. So that's the basics. So obviously there's a lot of decisions you have to make concerning end of life, or, it could happen when you're young. I just was blessed to make it to 52 years old and, made it through my own hell to get here. And I just hope that if you're young and you're watching this and you're thinking about life and you're struggling, just know that it's the only way. Struggle's the only way. Suffering's the only way forward. It's the only way you're going to get to where you want to be. If you're here and you want to get here, I'm sorry, there's no easy way. It's going to be struggle, and suffer and hard. And, I only made it here. Like, I was here, I made it here. There are people up here. I don't want to be there, I don't want that. I just wanted this life. An easy life, a comfortable life. So, I hope you learned a little bit about wills tonight, and I hope you'll be around for the next video. Thank you for watching.